What you're about to watch is not just a story, it's a life-changing revelation, a true life account of Lucy, an African-American woman who crossed the boundaries of life and death, descending into the depths of hell and returning with an urgent message for the world. She witnessed unimaginable horrors, including the torment of famous celebrities like Michael Jackson and Bob Marley in hell. They have a message for their fans and for everyone still living in sin. Watch until the very end, so you don't miss any part of this powerful revelation, because every moment unveils a truth that could change your eternity. Let's listen to Lucy.
I never thought that my life would change so drastically. I always believed in God, went to church, and prayed, but I never fully understood the weight of eternity until that fateful day. It was an experience I cannot forget. One that has left me trembling, humbled, and burdened with a mission to warn the world. It started on a day like any other. I had been busy with my daily activities when suddenly I felt weak and collapsed. Everything went dark. I thought my life had ended, but something extraordinary was about to happen. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in a strange place. The air was light, the ground shone like polished gold, and there was a feeling of peace all around me. Before I could fully understand what was happening, I felt a powerful presence behind me. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the light. It was him, Jesus. His presence was both comforting and terrifying. His eyes were like flames of fire, piercing through me as if he could see every hidden corner of my soul. "Lucy," he said, his voice like the sound of many waters, "I have brought you here to show you things that you must tell the world. Many are living in ignorance, unaware of the eternal consequences of their choices." Before I could respond, Jesus took my hand and we began to ascend. The light grew brighter until we stood before a massive, radiant gate. It was the gate of heaven. The gate was beyond anything I could describe, towering, majestic, and glowing with an otherworldly brilliance. In front of the gate, a long line of people stood, waiting their turn. Their faces reflected a mixture of hope and fear. 3 angels stood guard at the gate, their countenances fierce and holy. But the one that drew my attention was unlike anything I had ever seen. This angel was covered in eyes, hundreds, perhaps thousands of them, on every part of his body. Each eye seemed alive, watching, searching, piercing. One by one, the people stepped forward. When a person's life was deemed worthy, the angel with the many eyes would nod solemnly. The gates would open, and the person would enter. As they stepped inside, the sound of angelic choirs filled the air, rejoicing in their arrival. But for those unworthy, the angel would shake his head. Instantly, a violent whirlwind would erupt, seizing the person and flinging them into the abyss. The sound of their cries filled the air, and their voices faded into the distance as they disappeared. I stood there, watching in horror. The line moved slowly, and one by one, people were rejected. Their lives were laid bare before the angel's all-seeing eyes. No secrets could be hidden. No excuses could be made. Finally, only one woman in the entire queue was admitted into heaven. She was a humble, modestly dressed woman with a peaceful demeanor. The angels rejoiced loudly as she entered, their voices lifting in praise to the Lord. Jesus turned to me and said, "This is the life of this woman. She was always praying, always at peace with others. She loved everyone with a pure heart, and she lived a life of holiness. This is the kind of life I require." My heart sank as I realized how far short we fall of God's standard. Jesus looked at me and asked, "Lucy, where do you go on Sunday?" I replied, "Lord, I go to church to worship you." His expression became stern. "Lucy, many churches on earth do not worship me. They worship Satan, though they claim my name. Their hearts are far from me. Only a few truly worship me in spirit and in truth. I was speechless. I thought of the countless churches filled with people every Sunday, singing songs and listening to sermons. Could it be true that so many were deceived? Suddenly, everything changed. The light disappeared and we began to descend. Darkness surrounded us, thick and suffocating. The air grew unbearably hot, and the screams of torment began to fill my ears. "Lord, where are we going?" I asked, my voice trembling. "To hell," he replied. "You must see this so that you can warn others." I tried to resist, my fear overwhelming me. "Please, Lord, I don't want to go there." But his voice was firm. "Lucy, you must." As we descended, the air became thick and hot. The darkness was so intense that it felt like it could be touched. The smell was unbearable, a mixture of sulfur, burning flesh, and decay. Then I heard it, the sound of countless screams. They were loud and filled with pain and hopelessness. When we reached the bottom, I saw people everywhere. They were burning in flames, but they were not consumed. Their bodies were constantly being destroyed and renewed, and their screams never stopped. The darkness was so profound that it seemed to swallow any semblance of light, yet I could perceive the tormented souls. The air grew heavier with every step, and the screams of agony were now deafening, each cry a chilling reminder of eternal suffering. The stench was unbearable, a mix of sulfur, burnt flesh, and rot. It was so thick that I felt like I could choke on it. As I looked around, I began to see figures writhing in torment. The flames danced over their bodies, yet they were not consumed. Their skin would blister and burn, only to heal again and be scorched anew. Their bodies were constantly being destroyed and renewed, and their screams never stopped. Each one screamed, their cries blending into a horrifying cacophony that seemed to pierce my soul. "Lord," I whispered, trembling, "what is this place?" Jesus' voice was steady and filled with sorrow. "This is hell, Lucy, a place of torment prepared for the devil and his angels. But many souls have chosen to come here through their disobedience and rejection of me." I clung to his presence, knowing that without him, I would be utterly lost in this horrific place. We walked further into the abyss, and I saw countless souls in agony. Some were trapped in pits of fire, while others were chained, their bodies being torn apart by grotesque demons. The demons laughed cruelly, their forms twisted and monstrous, delighting in the suffering of their captives. One man caught my attention. He was crying out, clawing at his face as flames engulfed him. "Why didn't I repent?" he screamed. "I thought I had time." I turned to Jesus, my heart breaking. "Lord, why are they here?" Jesus replied, "These are the ones who rejected my offer of salvation. They chose their own way over my truth, and now they face the consequences of their choices." As we moved deeper, I noticed a figure dancing in the distance. The movements were familiar but grotesquely distorted, as if his body was being forced into unnatural contortions. As we approached, I recognized him. It was Michael Jackson. His once glorious appearance was gone. His face was twisted in pain, his body scarred and burned. Demons surrounded him, wielding fiery whips that cracked against his flesh, forcing him to dance. The music that once brought joy to millions now played in a twisted, haunting melody, echoing through the chambers of hell. "Stop this," he cried, his voice filled with despair. "Please, no more." I stepped closer, horrified. "Michael, why are you here?" I asked, my voice trembling. Through his sobs, he managed to reply, "I used my music to glorify myself and led others astray. I thought fame and fortune were everything, but they were nothing. Tell the world to stop listening to my music. It's a trap." Jesus looked at me and said, "Warn them, Lucy. Many still idolize him, but his influence leads them away from me." As we walked away, Michael's cries grew fainter, but the image of his suffering was burned into my memory. Further along, I heard the sound of a guitar, distorted and mournful. It was a melody I recognized, Bob Marley's. He sat on a jagged rock, surrounded by flames, his dreadlocks singed and his guitar strings broken. "Why am I here?" he wailed, his voice filled with regret. I thought I was spreading peace and love, but I was deceived. I asked him, "What do you want people to know?" He looked at me with tear-filled eyes. "Tell them to stop following the path I took. I believed in false gods and led others to do the same. Now, I'm lost forever. Tell them to repent and turn to Jesus before it's too late." Jesus spoke again, his tone filled with both authority and sorrow. Those who idolize him, who celebrate his life and cling to his music, are walking the same path. Warn them, Lucy. Bob Marley was weeping, crying and screaming, saying, "Oh, I never thought that Jesus existed. Many Rastamen were telling me that I was God, and that I have come to fulfill the prophecy of Jesus. Go tell them to cut this hair and believe in Jesus so that they would not come here. People were saying that my word will come to pass. They are prophecy, but here I am lost forever." Then Jesus said to me, "All those who celebrate the 11th of May, the anniversary of the death of Bob Marley, all those who worship and honor Bob Marley effigy, when they die, this is where they are coming." The Lord said, "Go tell them that I am who I am. I am sovereign. I do what I please. In hell, you will hear all types of screams and cries. You can hold darkness in your hand. People are wishing to repent, but it was too late for them." As we continued, I saw more and more souls in torment, pastors, evangelists, politicians, celebrities, and ordinary people. Each one had a story, a reason they were there. Many cried out in regret, wishing they could return to earth to make things right, but it was too late. I saw a pastor I recognized, a man named Albert from California. He was chained to a wall, and demons were piercing his flesh with spears. His cries were heart-wrenching. I asked him, "Why are you here?" He managed to reply through his sobs, "I preached for my own glory. I cared more about money and fame than about saving souls. I deceived my congregation, and now I'm paying the price." Jesus said he cannot return. It is finished for him. At that moment, Jesus turned to me and said, "Lucy, you must tell the world what you have seen. Hell is real, and many are on the path that leads here. Warn them to repent, to turn away from sin, and to follow me. Time is short." With that, we began to ascend. The screams and darkness of hell faded away, replaced by the light and peace of his presence. When I awoke, I was back in my body, trembling and weeping. The memories of what I had seen were vivid and unbearable. I knew I could not stay silent. My message to you is, hell is real. It is not a place of rest or reunion, but a place of eternal torment and regret. The choices we make on earth determine our eternity. I beg you, turn to Jesus now while there is still time. Seek him with all your heart and live a life that glorifies him. Jesus is the only way to salvation. Do not delay. Eternity is too long to be wrong.